Hello and welcome back. In the last few sections, we've been working on the Navbar integration and the Bootstrap Navbar integration with our project. And we'll take this forward one notch in this session and then make a few more styling changes. Okay. First up, I'm going to go ahead and inside Navbar.js, I'll make sure I get rid of this warning up front. Okay. And I will also want to make sure that my navbar is not too close to both these sides. Okay, over here I want to maintain some kind of spacing between this end and the navbar and this end hamburger menu icon. So for that, I'll go ahead and I want to use the container class as opposed to the container fluid. So I'll go ahead and get rid of this. Let's go ahead and do that. There we go. So that's looking good right now. That's nice to see, and especially in a water view, it looks much better right now instead of being too far spread apart. And next, I want to go ahead and get rid of this spacing in between the search icon and the input. So how can we do that? Over here in the form, which is essentially, if you go here, this is the form element. So I'll go here to the form element, get rid of this margin here. Okay. So that should take care of getting rid of that space, but you still have a certain kind of delineation between the two. You can see that they're apart, right? So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap them in a new class called input group. How do we do that? So I'll go ahead and wrap the input and the button elements inside a new div and with a class name of input group. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Input -group. Okay, super. And I will take this closing div down and then put it right after the button here. Okay, we make some space for it. Press Alt and then down arrow. It should take you down. After this, I also want to go ahead and wrap the button element in a new class, in a new div with the class name of input group append. Okay. So this is going to be input -group -append. Okay, super. And then I'll take the closing div, then drag it right below the button element. Okay, so now we should be looking good. I think, yeah, they look like they're a single element as opposed to two different elements. And what else can we do here? So let's look at the placeholder. I want to make sure I've put in a couple of dots here. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. And I think that's about it. So we can go ahead and actually look at the additional styling right now. What can we do in terms of the additional styling? We can probably set the background color for the navbar and, essentially all that stuff, right? All that nice stuff. So inside here, I'm going to have a new CSS class, all right, for navbar. I'll call it navbar.css, understandably. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to first target the nav element here. So if I go to the navbar, there is a nav element here. I'm going to target that. Okay, and what I'm also going to do is I'm going to import this new CSS class. Alright, I'll create some space, import, and that's going to be navbar.css. Yeah, that's the one. So far there are going to be no changes because we don't have anything in the navbar.css. As soon as we start putting in some styling elements there, we should be able to see something. Okay, I'm going to say now for the nav element, I'm going to set the background color. Okay, and that's going to be primary -navbar. Okay, so if I go over to my app.css, I have a color defined here for the navbar itself. So it should be somewhere here. Let me search. Where's navbar? Yeah, that's the one. Okay, it's kind of slightly light blue kind of stuff. Okay, color. And I will go ahead and get that changed there. It's gonna be navbar. Okay, super. And let's see if it actually takes effect. Yeah, it does. Super. And we also already have the font family set to Roboto Condensed here, if I'm correct. It is already Roboto Condensed. I'm not going to do anything related to that. And I'm also going to say, I'm going to give a border here, border bottom. Okay, and I'll say border hyphen bottom. Okay, and that's going to be 1px solid. And I'm going to say it's going to be of color primary hyphen navy. Okay, yeah, there we go. So we get the border bottom as well. We can also give a border top, but I don't feel like doing that right now. In case we change our minds in the future, we'll come back and do that. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is let me collapse the sidebar here. Alright, we'll probably make it slightly wider so that we get the wide view. Well, yeah, this is the one, right? And then we can go to the mobile view. And then I will target the UL. So right now, all these are part of the unordered list. If you look at it, these are ULs, right? Go ahead and target the UL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say nav, and under that I'm going to target the UL. Under that I'm going to target the LI, which is the list item. Okay, individual items, and under that I'm going to target the A, which is the anchor tag. And for that, I'm going to say text transform. I want everything to be uppercase. Okay, so text transform uppercase. All right, let's see if it happens. Yes, it does. Super. And how about color? Can we change the color here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to say color, the color of the text itself. I'm going to go ahead and set it to primary navy. Let's see if it happens. I hope so. Not sure it happened. Let's check anyway. I think it didn't work. Most likely it didn't work. Unless it is primary navy. If I go back to app.css, the primary navy color was this. So yeah, obviously it's different. So maybe what could be happening here is, let's say, I want to put an important class here. It works this time, right? No, it's still not working. Why is that so? We'll probably come back to that. Probably it's a link. It's a property related to the link. We'll come back to that at a later point in time. So let's go ahead and then look at the nav item now. Okay. Inside of here, we have individual nav items. All right. So if I go in here and target this item in particular, this is what we're looking at, correct? I'm going to target the nav item by typing navbar hyphen nav, and we need a nav item here, dot nav hyphen item. For this one, I will actually specify a border bottom of, I just say margin. Actually, there is no margin right now. Let's set the margin. Okay, margin of margin top, right? So, or margin overall. Okay, I'll go for a margin right, because right now they're too closely aligned. Okay, so I'm going to say margin hyphen right. It's going to be 10px, so that should put them a little far apart right now. Yeah, there we go. In fact, 20px would be better in my opinion. We also want a border bottom here of transparent, and I will explain why we need it right now here. Okay, we'll have a border bottom of, let's say, 3px solid. Okay, oops, it is not. Okay, let me collapse this again. This is constraining us a little bit. 3px solid and transparent. We don't want any color right now. Okay, super. So it actually gives it a kind of a, a little bit more space down there. What else can we do? We will then also have a styling for the active link. Okay, so if you look here right now, there is an active link here. Okay, which is the browse link, and whenever it is active, want to make sure it is underlined, and that's exactly the reason why we had this transparent 3px bottom here. Okay, so let's target the active link, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, close this, and I'm going to target the active element dot active. Oops, not A. Okay, yeah, that's better. It's saying some do not use rule sets, empty rule sets. Okay, it's actually saying do not use it. It doesn't realize that we're going to typing in something here. So I'm going to say border hyphen bottom, again 3px solid. Whenever it's active, I want to give it a primary orange, where primary hyphen orange. Okay, let's see, this should have been underlined now. Apparently it didn't. So how about percent important? Maybe I need to refresh this. Oh, interesting. Alright, looks like I have a typo here, so I'll just go ahead and remove that, and now we should have this. This is the active link, and if you look here, this is active, and that's why it's showing that here. So if I go ahead and remove this right now, it should vanish. Alright, so go ahead and refresh this. The active link should be back up here again. Super, so let's move ahead. So we want to have something on hover here. So let's say if I hover on one of these links, I want to make sure there is a bottom here of, let's say, color green. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this here, and I will attach the hover property of CSS, and whenever that happens, I want the bottom hyphen bottom to be 3px solid. It's not going to be primary orange. I'm going to have it as primary green. Okay. All right. GREEN. Okay. So now every time I hover, it should actually give me a primary green. I'm not sure why it's not doing that. Maybe I have to refresh it. Interesting. Is there a spelling mistake here again? All right. So it looks like the hover is it's appearing right now. Every time I hover, there is a green bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a transition here, so that it doesn't look jerky. I'm going to say transition border. Okay, and that's going to be 0.5 seconds, and with the style of ease in out. Okay, let's see what happens now. Alright, so it's much more smooth. We have that in place here, and the next thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and set this color to, I think the color is already primary navy in my opinion. Yeah, it is primary navy, so we don't have much to do there, but maybe we can just make sure that it's actually font weight is bold. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll say I'll pick Navbar here. I'll pick the nav here. I'll pick the nav and the dot nav link. Okay, and in here I'll say font hyphen weight is equal to bold. Yeah, that's looking much better. Super. All right, and then what else? We also want to make sure the color of this one is a certain kind of white. Let's target that. So I'm going to say is form, inside the form, and with the input, right? For the input, this input element, and of type text. Obviously, I mean this is actually optional, but I'm still going to go ahead and say, if the input is of type text and not necessarily radio button, go ahead and apply this stuff. Okay, let's say background color. I'll just apply the background color. And that's gonna be where primary. What color do we want here? Showing for orange. Orange, no, it didn't work. Say person important. Sometimes I think you just have to refresh that a couple of times for it to take effect, I feel. Let's see what is happening here. Form. Okay, and input. Okay, so this is actually type is equal to search. It has to be type is equal to text in my opinion. So if I go ahead and change it, that didn't work either. Interesting. That should have worked. Let's see, I'll go ahead and make the change here. Surprising, it's actually type is equal to search. It's actually a typo. Okay, it has to be type is equal to text. Surely. It's in targeting that. So that is, yeah, this is actually, oh, there is also an additional div inside here, right, of input group. So probably we may have to just say input type of text. Will that help? To refresh. No, it isn't working. Alright, looks like I have an additional extra space here. So that was probably causing the issue. Now I see it's orange. It looks a bit funky. How about peach? Maybe we'll try that. Yeah, it's not bad. Let's keep it for now. In case if you don't like it, we can revisit in time to come and try to change that a much more pleasant color. Okay, super. So the next thing that we want to do is also want to change the button color here. I'll go over here and provide some custom styling. Go over to the button, and inside here, after the class name, okay, I'll provide some custom styling here, which is inline style. That's gonna be within flower braces, within 2 flower braces, of course, and that's gonna be background. Yeah, background. Let's say where hyphen primary hyphen green. Okay, let's see if it actually helps there. Okay, not bad. And I also want to make sure I have a color option set. I'm gonna set that to where, okay, let me close this, hyphen primary white. Okay, super, looks good. I think we have an Navbar in here, which is looking pretty good. And the next thing we want to do is we'll actually go ahead and style our logo here. We'll introduce some interesting logo, and that's going to be the next section. And let's take a pause here. It's been a long video. Let's regroup after a break.